Today on the Game Marks podcast, we go back to 1990 when we played WWF WrestleMania Challenge for the NES. How does this LJN Classic hold up today? Will we play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All of this plus gaming news, GMP64 and Clash at the Feast. Plug in and put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I am the man of 1,001 nicknames who this week, for some unknown reason, I don't know how it came up, we were playing NWO Revenge, and I am this week being known as the Statistic, George Feis.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash, and today we are playing WWF WrestleMania Challenge.
Guys, we'd love to hear from you. We want to know what you think of this podcast. So please, Apple Podcasts, wherever you choose to listen, if you can leave us a review, hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, tell us what you think. And always join in on the conversation on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod, and come be a part of our Discord, GameMarksPod.com/Discord. Johnny boy.
What's up, Georgie?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm still thinking about tag team match muscle. I still I not only said play it forever, I actually played it again, so.
Oh, look at you.
What about you? How are you feeling about your rating from last week?
I am feeling good. I don't know. There's just something about that series, man. It's fun.
So I posted a picture of actually who the sprites represent because it's hard to tell. There's actually no nameplate under them for you to see who you're playing as. It was very easy to pick out who was who from the Ultimate Muscle series. So good job on them making a NES game look just look legit.
Oh yeah. So it's really, I guess we touched on it last week, but for us who have played the series and are kind of familiar with the characters already, it was nice to kind of go back and, get a refresher on what the characters actually are supposed to look like, and not just be like, yes, the last thing that will be living in my memory are these small little sprites from from an NES game.
Yeah, but great job depicting the characters. It's you could tell Kinnikuman's the guy on the cover, so cool for them.
You knew exactly. They did a good job. But guys, the streamer spotlight, such a great new thing I think that we started. It helps us use our platform to help elevate others in the community. Obviously, Johnny and I love to go live on our Twitch channel, and we want to use that as a platform to help elevate others. So the streamer spotlight for the month of February is Dom Odinson, DOMODINSON. So go follow him. DJs, plays a bunch of different video games. Right now, him and his crew are very into Warzone, but quality streamer, funny guy. I've known him for a long time, so be sure to go check him out.
Speaking of Twitch, once we hit 200 followers on Twitch, which we're almost there, we will release the video game history of Bret the Hitman Hart. It will be formatted much like we did the Undertaker episode. I'm very excited to do that, so head on over to twitch.tv/GameMarksPod and just hit that follow button.
And as of recording, we are at 152 followers. So we are so close. So if you hear our voices, please hop on over to our Twitch channel. Make Johnny and I do this. It's a labor of love. It's going to be a long episode.
We want to do this.
Video that goes along with it. We want to do this. Make us do this, please. But Johnny, last Thursday, episode 2, GMP64, man. How you feeling? What are you thinking about this series so far?
What a great episode. I think one of the greatest wrestlers of all time advanced to the King of the Ring qualifier.
Oh, God.
And that is The Rock. See, I fooled you there. But Johnny Clash is going to the King of the Ring also. Guys, please check it out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast. Every Thursday, it's live at 7 p.m. in a premiere, so you could have that little chat. You could talk to other Game Marks about what you're seeing. It's great. I love it. It's probably the most fun thing we've done.
But hey, that's not all. It's not just a weekly show. that comes out on Thursdays. There's also going to be live pay-per-views on our Twitch channel. And the first pay-per-view for GMP64 is King of the Ring. Live on Twitch, February 28th. It is going to be an absolute amazing end to the King of the Ring brackets that we've been putting together. We are going to crown the first world champion for GMP64.
Who's it gonna be?
It's not going to be Johnny Clash, I'll tell you right now.
Okay, I
will riot. I will riot.
So who's in right now? So The Rock from AIF and Kurt Angle from AIF. And then I have Johnny Clash and The Undertaker.
Yes.
And we'll have 2 more King of the Ring qualifiers this Thursday.
Cannot wait. Super excited. But Johnny, a lot of big things happening in gaming news. I know that there's absolutely one thing that I'm super excited about. Can't wait to talk about it. So why don't you go and take us through the happenings of the week?
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
Last week, it was announced that HBO's The Last of Us TV series would be casting Pedro Pascal in the role of Joel. Pascal will be playing opposite of Bella Ramsey of Game of Thrones, who is also announced as playing the role of Ellie in the series. The actor, most well known for his role in The Mandalorian, at first tweeted out 2 emojis to express that his mind was blown at the announcement. WWE 2K Battlegrounds recently added new superstars to the roster, but 2K isn't about to stop now. They just revealed a new lineup of superstars coming to the WWE Brawler. The newest batch of superstars includes both legends and current Raw and SmackDown stars, 24 in total, and the new additions rolled out last Wednesday, February 10th. Current stars like Grand Metalik, Sonya Deville, Bo Dallas, Lana, and Mustafa Ali will join legends like Paige, Cactus Jack, Ricky Steamboat, Alundra Blaze, Vader, Mr. Perfect, Maurice, and even Mr. McMahon himself. There will also be 2 new arenas added to the game, such as WrestleMania 37 and the Austin 316 Anniversary Arena. The Pokemon Company is teaming up with Post Malone for a virtual Pokemon Day concert. The Pokemon Company released a 30-second teaser of Post Malone approaching a concert venue, holding a Pokeball before transforming into a CG character in the style of the recent Pokemon games. The concert will take place at 7 p.m. on February 27th and will stream on the official Pokemon website. And that's all the gaming news we have this week. Check back next week.
Johnny.
George.
You and I, both huge monster fans of The Last of Us. And now it's getting, there was rumors. We kind of heard about this, but now it is official. HBO's The Last of Us TV series, Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones and The Mandalorian, as well as Bella Ramsey, also from Game of Thrones. She played Lyanna Mormont, and if you are at all familiar with Game of Thrones, you know that she was a total badass on that show. Obviously, Mandalorian is an absolute badass as well. I wanted to know your thoughts on this casting because you seemed a little bit more skeptical than I was. I am ready for this.
Well, I never watched Game of Thrones, so I don't know how that was portrayed there. But, I mean, obviously, I love The Mandalorian, and he's a great choice. He just needs the beard. I feel like he doesn't have, like, the deep voice like Joel has, but, that's all easily done via acting. But, I don't know. I'll obviously watch it.
Now, there's another movie that is being made that surrounds or involved or is based on a video game. So they're making Borderlands the game, the movie. So right now, the casting is Kevin Hart as Roland, Cate Blanchett as Lilith. And they just announced that Jack Black is going to be Claptrap. And I think so far that's the only casting that I agree with. I'm going to see this movie anyway, but I am very curious to see how this shapes out. Like if they're starting from the beginning, if it's its own story. But yeah, I'm confused.
Again, I'm unfamiliar with Borderlands. I know a lot of my friends just started playing that a little bit more, so I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll dabble, but I mean, I could always check out the movie, and then that'll pull me into the series. So we'll see.
There you go. All right, but John, what do you say we hop on over to the question of the week?
Let's do it.
Ooh, yeah. Game Marks, huh? We're here to tell you that the Game Marks podcast is on Pro Wrestling Tees and T Public, huh? But the cream will always rise to the top. Now, there are 2 ways to shop. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod or tpublic.com/user/GameMarksPod, because you know the Game Marks podcast is the cream of the crop, huh? So head on over today and bow down to the kingdom of the madness. Your mustache is crooked, Marks.
Guys, ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. If you are hearing this right now, there is still time for you to buy a t-shirt and receive a phone call from Johnny and myself. It is just a little promotion that we wanted to do in hopes of giving back, and we've got to make quite a few phone calls already this month, and I'm looking forward to making them, and I hope we get to make more.
Yeah, I've made a few actually on my Pro Wrestling Tees because I extended it to my channel, my URL, whatever, my store as well, and some of them have been pretty funny. So keep them coming.
Plug your own Pro Wrestling Tees store. What is it?
ProWrestlingTees.com/Johnny Clash. Go figure.
There you go. All right. Well, the question of the week. This is the second week, right? Second week of the new question.
Yep.
So this is the second week of the new question of the week format. For now, we want you guys to ask us a question at Game Marks Pod, and if we pick your question, you receive a little prize pack from the Game Marks podcast. Last week, the question was, a lot of wrestlers have had persona changes throughout the years. Which one was your favorite? And if you could repackage The Undertaker, what would his new gimmick be? And that question came from Casper_Stevens. And we answered that question, but we also got everyone else's answers, all forms of social media. And let's run through some of them right now. Johnny, what do you say?
All right, let's go. So at Colin Bolu, I'm going to butcher that, so Bolu is what I'm going to go with. It says Bray Wyatt to the Firefly Funhouse / The Fiend, or Matt Hardy in Impact, switching to Broken Matt Hardy. And as for The Undertaker, I'd have him be Mark Calloway, the legend, and manage people, passing down his wisdom. Kind of like we're seeing Sting do with Darby Allin right now.
That's very true. Now, Tyler Stevens at Mr. Bad Idea says Scotty Flamingo to Raven was quite the change. Mm-hmm. That's actually a really good one. Daniel Bryan to the new Daniel Bryan was a lot of fun. And obviously, just goes without saying, Husky Harris to The Fiend is incredible.
Yeah, agreed. Now, Jardid W says CM Punk becoming more sinister as the leader of the Straight Edge Society is one of my favorites. Him singing Happy Birthday to Aaliyah Mysterio still gives me goosebumps to this day. And for The Undertaker, I would like the American Badass, but with a whole biker clan. Ooh.
Oh, that's
now
kind of like a newer DOA. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Now Victor Hoffman 15 says, I can't believe that J Clash 21 didn't pick Sting going from Surfer to the Crow. Now I didn't pick that because that was not really my era. When I came in to watch wrestling, he was already the Crow.
I kind of thought that too. I was like, I'm really surprised that he didn't. I figured that was low hanging fruit.
Yeah, but that's not the Sting I watched growing up, so I can't really speak to that change.
All right, so this week's question comes from at Chris Dust 310. Congratulations, you are going to be winning Game Marks Podcast prize pack. Chris's question is, has there ever been one wrestler that should have been in a video game but wasn't? Trying to think. Who hasn't been in a video game that absolutely deserved to be in one?
So off the bat, I could think Shane Douglas was only in Backstage Assault, and he was unlocked through the Hardcore Challenge. He wasn't really in any of the WCW, WWF, or ECW games. And also, someone that should have been in like the original Here Comes the Pain, or maybe a few others, was Zach Gowen. And he will actually be in the Virtual Basement's Wrestling Code coming up, whenever that game decides to drop in the next decade. I get it. He's a one-legged wrestler. It's kind of hard to, put that in a video game. But I think I used to always create him, but I would just kind of put like padding on one of his legs,
Yeah, this is a very difficult question. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm really struggling here for. All right, so this is a challenging question. I don't think I've ever been more stumped than a question that we've ever been asked here. But the first thing I'm trying to think of, like those really like the Goon or like Repo Man,
actually,
like
yeah,
those or Mantar, like these characters who had like I feel like the characters that had these wild and insane personas back in the day, who either went on to have other characters and those characters got put in a video game, but like the comical ones that they were originally known for. Man, so I'm gonna say like Repo Man or the Goon.
Okay. So that actually reminds me, when I was younger, remember people used to just make like Flash videos that were just cool that you could just play, not like games, but just videos. Like someone would make like Titantrons.
Like the Ultimate Showdown.
They would make like Titantrons of people, and on their website they would have like Stone Cold, The Rock, like it would be like their MIDI music, and then they would like animate an entrance theme. So it was like Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, The Undertaker, and then Repo Man. So in like 2001, 2002, I'm like, who the hell is this Repo Man that's up here with these guys? It was so weird. Now I appreciate it.
Apparently Repo Man is a good one. But that question,
that was
very good,
stumper,
Chris Dust. Very good.
DM us on social media to claim your prize.
All right, Johnny. I think it's time for us to hop on top of the diving board, because it is time to take the plunge for this week's deep dive. Are you sick of drinking the same old boring coffee with the same old boring flavors? Well, Marks, it's time for you to check out Bones Coffee Company. Bones Coffee isn't just a drink that wakes you up in the morning. It's a full flavor experience. Small batch roasts that are made to order so that every order is guaranteed to be fresh. Unbelievable, all-natural flavors in every single bag. Some of our favorites are blueberry, paradise pie, and chocolate raspberry. But if you're not into the flavored coffees, they've got their single origin series featuring coffee beans from the greatest coffee growing regions in the world. Visit GameMarksPod.com/coffee to place your order and try the world's freshest small batch coffee. Johnny boy, Bones Coffee.
Ain't no bones about it.
What have you cold brewed this week?
Oh, I didn't cold brew this week, but I did just place my order because there is a 20% off President's Day sale today when you use code PRES21. That's PRES21 at checkout, and you will also receive a mystery flavor.
Very, very interested in that mystery flavor, because a lot of times that mystery flavor, if it does well and it gets a good review, I guess, it was received well, that becomes a full-on flavor. So if it doesn't go out and there's not enough orders, we may never know what a secret flavor is. But
did we ever figure out what the secret Airheads flavor was, the white package?
I think it's just every flavor.
Those are actually the best. I hate Airheads.
I think it's just every flavor. But guys, from dusk till donuts is the jelly donut like flavored coffee. I don't think I may ever drink another cup of coffee for the rest of my life.
Wow,
this is
I wish I placed my order after talking to you, but
the coolest and most interesting. It's like having a coffee and a donut, but you only need to have the coffee. So it's like, one, it's great because you get both flavors, but two, also if you want to be a little healthy, you save yourself the calories, you can just have the cup of coffee.
Perfect.
I love it. All right, but the deep dive. WWF WrestleMania Challenge, released November of 1990 for the NES, developed by Rare, published by LJN. Now this is the sequel to WrestleMania on the original Nintendo.
Find it in our archives.
So other games that are released around this time. Johnny, go ahead.
Cutie Suzuki, No Ringside Angel for the Mega Drive. Find it in our archives.
Now, this title is the second of the 8 LJN WWF games, so this follows WWF Superstars.
That's right. WrestleMania, the original for NES, was published by Acclaim.
All right, so I was thinking, I normally this is like part where we like talk about the match types and things like that, but this game kind of is different in terms of everything is kind of set up as, I don't know, I guess like it has the opportunity to be like a tag match or like a 2 out of 3. So like your 1-on-1 match, then you have a tag match, and you have the weird thing is a 3-on-3 Survivor Series elimination match, which you could just add one more character.
Hey, limited capabilities on a cartridge, okay?
It's one more sprite on the screen.
And that would use pretty much the entire roster from the game also, so.
That's true. That is very true. Now, there is also a championship mode where you take control of, and it's been a while since we've talked about the game that does this. You take control of, quote unquote, yourself, and you have to defeat all of the entire roster in the game. And once you do that, you become the champion. Now, as we mentioned before, there is also the 2-player mode, but there is also a tag team championship mode where both players control 2 versions of quote-unquote yourself. And you have to, again, run through the entire roster of the game in a series of tag matches to crown yourselves as the new tag team champions.
Now, these are self characters. They actually don't look as generic as we're making it sound. They actually look kind of cool. You got like
they don't look like yourself.
Well, they got the red trunks and the red boots. They got like a little pumpy hair that kind of look like their sprite looks like Daniel Bryan, and then the second version is just different color gear. I don't think it's as weird as it sounds. It's like we said in the last episode where we had a U character. This is kind of the dawn of the creator wrestler in a sense.
Yeah, and I think we even said that the last time we had a yourself in the game where this is like the early stages of being able to kind of use your imagination, have this
nameless
yourself. Yeah, this like nameless, faceless character, for lack of a better term, and kind of make it whoever you want it to be. But this is the part that I'm not looking forward to talking about, Johnny. The gameplay itself. I was kind of afraid because the last time we had this crazy high angle 3/4 turn ring was WCW Super Brawl, and that didn't go over so well. So I guess we just got to talk about this. You know, we got to address the controls, all of this. So
let's start with what we liked.
Presented. Okay, so like we said, matches presented from a high angle. On the screen, you see your wrestler's stamina/health bar, but that's kind of like on like the ring skirts, I guess, is what you would call it.
So this is the part I liked. You're not taking up half the screen with a health bar. It's part of the ring apron, so you're not... You know, like your character goes up to the top rope and jumps off. You're not moving off the screen because now it's inside the stamina bar. You know, like it's out of the way. There were times where it did move off screen, like say we were outside the ring or like in one of the corners. But it comes back. Like it moves with the ring, obviously, because it's part of the ring. But I like that. It's not in the way. It's not so prominent. It's simple. It's literally just a couple of different bars. As you get hit, they go down. They could regenerate. I like it.
And that's a far cry from Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast, where like 99% of the screen is taken up. Like the whole like top portion of the screen is like your health bar, your stamina bar, your run-in moves, the clock. Everything was so big. This, like you said, is a very minimalistic approach to it, and it's very interesting for like you don't really see the ring canvas or the ring aprons used in that manner. So it was definitely refreshing presentation, I guess is the word.
Yeah. Now, each wrestler also has their own unique moveset, which we had a lot of fun with because pressing A is the kick. Pressing B is the grapple, where you do pretty much a body slam or an atomic drop, depending who you are. There were sleeper holds. There was everything in there, which was pretty cool. Pressing A and B together kind of does like your signature move. Like Hulk Hogan did this big drop kick. Big Boss Man did this belly bump. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I think, had my favorite one.
Ooh.
If you watch Clash at the Feast, George was kind of lining me up for a football tackle and goes full steam ahead. It was very unique for a game of this caliber. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was absolutely not what I was expecting at all. But the thing about these, I guess, special attacks, these unique strikes, is that if you've ever played, the only correlation that I can think of, I know a million games did this, but in Turtles in Time, if you had, you hit A and B, you do like a little spin attack, and it drains your health. So this works in the same way. You can, be Hacksaw Jim Duggan and be 3-point charging all across the ring, but every time you do it, you lose health. So you gotta kind of use these moves sparingly and use them to your advantage, I suppose. The only one that I seem to be able to use in a way to escape taking damage was the Jim Duggan move. Everything else just seemed to be like a strike of some kind.
Yeah, Ultimate Warrior had a nice like axe handle. It seemed like Macho Man did the bionic elbow, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Macho Man drops a Dusty Rhodes bionic elbow.
Now, let's talk about what we don't like here, and that's the actual controls of how you move. So we went into this thinking this was going to be like a Fire Pro, or even like Super Brawl, where you're using kind of like the diagonal to run, where you have to get used to it. But no, if you wanted to hit the ropes, which were to the upper right, you have to hit up. And it's kind of as if you took your D-pad on the controller and turned it to be the same direction as the ring. That's the direction you would use to hit the ropes. I don't know if I'm explaining this good. I don't know if you want to give it a shot, but it's a very odd concept. It was very hard to get used to. I think eventually we kind of got it down, but just like I said last week and 2 weeks ago, it's very easy to get behind the opponent, because when you're doing these moves, you're kind of circling around each other until you catch someone off guard. It's very odd. Yeah,
so I think you're right. You did a good job explaining what it is. I think the easiest visual would be pick up any kind of controller that you have and then just kind of turn it so that it's more of like a diamond shape and less of like make it an X. Make your D-pad an X and less of like a crosshair. That's the control scheme. So up isn't really up. Up feels more like it could be right. I don't know. It's a difficult thing to explain. Go out of your way to play this game, if for nothing else, just to experience what it's like to walk around in this ring. It was the weirdest movement experience in a game that I've ever had.
I have to agree.
But
we felt like the grapples, there was no real method to the grapples. There was no timing. It was kind of just like luck. And before we sat down to record this, I watched a few videos of other people reviewing and playing this game also. And they were saying the same thing, like we could both press it at the same time, being the same distance. And it's kind of like, oh, we're going to give it to Ultimate Warrior now. Oh, okay, Andre's turn to do the body slam. There was no real like rhyme or reason to why the grapples actually took as long as they did. But
it's RNG before RNG was a thing.
Sure, I don't know what that means.
Do you want me to explain to you what RNG is?
No.
Okay.
So
if you know, you know.
So the coolest part of the grapples, whoever pulls off the move, it's their theme music that plays.
Yeah, I'm just a sucker for these like chiptune 8-bit renditions of wrestler theme songs. I don't know, there's just something that I love about them. I find it so like that kicks me into like immediate nostalgia more than anything.
And it's just a unique way on an NES to not have to say boring old over a game where you're actually making it interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and it's nice that it's just not the same music for the whole match. So whoever's like in control of the match at that point, it switches to that music. So there was a match that we did where Macho King's in the ring and his music's playing, and then all of a sudden Hulk Hogan hits a move, and then Real Americans playing. Like, it was cool to not have the constant, like, you know, and there's not enough back and forth in the game to make it where you hear like 5 seconds and then it switches to 5 seconds and then it switches in 5 seconds. Like, it works. It sounds like it would be annoying, but trust us, it works. But speaking of Macho King, I would love to take you through this roster, because this is a pretty great roster on this game.
But before we read that roster, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
All right, so your roster consists of Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Macho King Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, The Big Boss Man, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Ravishing Rick Rude, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and as we mentioned earlier, quote unquote, yourself.
You quote unquote yourself. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much the heavy hitters in 1990. I actually thought it was weird that, like, Roddy Piper, Mr. Perfect weren't in this game, but I guess if you're choosing the 9 top guys, I guess it's cool to have this roster. I mean, maybe I would take out Beefcake and Duggan and replace them with someone, you know, like a Mr. Perfect or Piper, someone else. But for what this roster is, for what this game is, this, I think, sets the bar.
You know, going back to what you said before, there were some limitations in terms of, like, the cartridge and, you know, how many characters you can have. But I think they did a good job of mixing up the roster.
Yeah, but give me Texas Tornado.
Yeah, okay. All right. I agree with you. I mean, look, for every game that's ever been in existence, the number one thing that you can always say is, I wish it had more people. The only game series that I don't think you could say that about is Fire Pro Wrestling, because it literally has almost too many characters.
Agreed. But George, our favorite thing in any game.
Yes.
Cheat codes. We got cheat codes. All right. So I'm going to kind of split this up, because there are actual codes, but then there's actual just kind of things in the game that you should figure out that are kind of cheats. So if you press select and B in the tag match and Survivor Series mode, your partner will run around the outside of the ring and beat up your opponent's partner. Now, alternatively, if you press select and A to make your partner jump into the ring and help you. And during tag team and Survivor matches, if your tag partner by the ring post outside, you press select and A and B together, and that will make them climb up the top rope and jump inside the ring. Now, that's something that we actually had a problem with jumping outside the ring, because we finally figured out how to climb the turnbuckle. The animation for it looks like you're climbing up the ladder in Mickey Mouse capades, and your wrestler jumps outside the ring, and we just couldn't figure out how to get back inside the ring, so we'd always get counted out.
Yeah, it's very, so like, it seemed like at one point you could kind of control the direction that you jumped in the ring, so it looked like if you hit left, you would jump in the ring, and right would be out of the ring. But then all of a sudden, regardless of what we were doing, we were always jumping out of the ring, and couldn't figure out how to get back in the ring. We tried the same buttons that we used to run, the same buttons that we used to get onto the turnbuckle. We tried doing it by the ring steps. Just nothing that we did seemed to let us get back into the ring. So
really weird. Maybe we should stop putting Andre the Giant on the top rope. But now we have Game Genie cheats. I'm not going to read these cockamamie letter combinations, but you can unlock pin count extended to 9 seconds. The 10 count reduces to 5 seconds. All counts slower and all counts faster. So that's with the Game Genie. Now the Game Genie, that brings me back, because my friend had it, I didn't have it, and we would unlock the world, especially in like the Bart Simpson game and Paperboy. Those were the days.
Yeah, I was more of a Game Shark kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, this is the part of the show where we hop on over and talk about the graphic style of the game. So now we're going to be talking about the character models, the art style, the box art itself. And I mean, the first most, striking thing that you see as soon as you start up this game, after, the licensing and title information itself.
Hulk Hogan is brought to you by Marvel and all that. Trademark of Marvel.
Yeah, and all that stuff. And then you are just absolutely blessed with this wonderful image of a pixel rendering. You know what? For old time's sake,
Say it.
You get a pixel bit rendering of the Ultimate Warrior, the beautiful WrestleMania logo. And I don't know, there's just something cool about this screen. Like, it's so simple, but it's badass at the same time. I don't know.
It's very minimal. There's no background. It's just a black background. But the way the Ultimate Warrior is like pixeled out here, it's awesome. Now
it's good. It's a good group of pixel bits.
Now your next screen where you actually pick your roster member and your partners and all that. I said during Clash at the Feast, it bothers me. The WrestleMania logo is way off center. We thought it was just the trademark of the WWF logo, but no, looking here, the WrestleMania logo is very off center. But the character selection, it's probably one of the best sprited out renditions of wrestlers we've seen as far as small little graphics go.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we've played games where we've gone through the roster and we see these little character icons and you have no idea that this is supposed to be that person. But this, like you said, does a fairly good representation for what it is, for the time that this game came out.
Now let's go to the arena. So the ring here actually looks like, I'd say like an LJN Hasbro-esque ring. You got the classic blue turnbuckle posts. You got the classic blue apron. You got the blue mats on the outside with the red, white, and blue classic WWF ropes. You can kind of see the turnbuckle pads here, but the outside of the ring, it's just a big, giant black background. And now you have the guardrail with the crowd, who is all pretty much the same face. But there's just something about it. You got the ring steps. I think they did a pretty good job portraying an arena here. And maybe that's why they went with this isometric view. But if you look at the ring, same problem Super Brawl had. If you look at the ring, if you look at the guardrail on the outside, the perspective is just not there.
Yeah, so, I mean, going back to the crowd really quick, just because you talked about it, and it is something that we'd like to talk about. There are little like bulb flashes in the crowd when you get close, and there's like a little bit of movement to the crowd. So that
their mouth opens.
Going back to the point that I made a couple of weeks ago, when a crowd matches the in-ring, in-game style, I feel like that helps with the immersion because there's no like glaring, oh my God, the crowd looks horrible and everything else in the ring looks great. I get that that's the focus, but I feel like when things match, it helps with the immersion. It helps with like the storytelling and like setting the environment. But, yeah, I agree with you. Perspective is strange. I don't know if it's the angle of the ring. Maybe it's the distance between the guardrail and the ring itself. Like maybe it's because the screen cuts off and it feels like the black portions on top are different on bottom. I agree with you. There's just something I can't.
There's like no dimension.
I can't quite put my finger on. But I agree with you. Something just felt off.
Now you know what's missing here is actually like a time limit. There's no time limit on these matches. You don't actually set that, and it doesn't show up on the screen. The original WrestleMania, which was this predecessor, you actually have like we said, half of the screen is that stamina bar with the big giant faces of the wrestler with the time, and then it's the front facing ring. You have the front ropes are missing so you could see the action, and then just the WrestleMania. So they took it I can't even say a step further for the sequel. This is like a giant leap in the sequel.
Yeah, this is definitely a step up.
Now I'm going to ask you something here. How would you compare this to pro wrestling for the NES?
I don't even know if they could be in the same conversation, if that makes sense.
In what way?
Like, yes, they're both wrestling games, but the controls and the camera angle are so different. I almost feel like the first WrestleMania game is comparable to pro wrestling, and this is maybe more akin to something like a Super Brawl.
Okay, I guess.
I know timeline-wise, it doesn't match up perfectly, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of like play style, camera angle. If you want to compare WrestleMania Challenge to pro wrestling, I still think pro wrestling wins.
Okay. They're very different. Pro wrestling was at least 3 or 4 years before this.
Yeah, I just think I feel like, and this is, I think, something that we've said before, and we may have even said it during Super Bowl, it feels like they change stuff for the sake of changing stuff and not because it made gameplay better.
All right. I think this plays a little better than pro wrestling if you take away...
Like, they made it different purposely to make it different.
I think if you take away the weird directional controls, I think this one plays a little better and is a little more unique.
All right. I see where you're coming from with that.
But let's go over to the game artwork itself, the front and the back cover.
Now, we always like to say, it's nice when you pick up a game and you know that it's a wrestling game right off the bat. And again, with this, there is no question. It says WrestleMania Challenge on the front. You've got the Big Boss Man, Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, Macho King, and Hulk Hogan dead center. And I think the only thing that is kind of strange to me is the framing, I guess, of some of the pictures. So Boss Man, Warrior, kind of in the same sizing perspective. Then Andre's zoomed in. Macho Man looks like the coloring's way off on his picture, also kind of zoomed in. And then Hulk Hogan is literally from the neck up.
I don't think they had Adobe Creative Suite in 1990.
I mean, they had something to put this together.
Yeah. Now let's go through the back here. Now you have the WrestleMania Challenge logo. Again, you have Ultimate Warrior pummeling his opponent. And then you have a list of the roster with get ready for the greatest in powerhouse action, both in and out of the ring. Go head to, except you can't get in the ring. Go head to head with 8 of the biggest WWF superstars. Can you survive the Atomic Drop, Warrior Wallop, the Hulkster Splash, the Sleeper Hold, and the Rude Awakening? Fight back with some classic moves of your own like flying turnbuckle leaps, headbutts, elbow smashes, and more. I got to add a turnbuckle leap into my arsenal.
What the hell is a Warrior Wallop and a Hulkster Splash?
Choose between singles and tag team matches, even double teaming, incredible 3-on-3 Survivor Series mode, 1 and 2 players head to head, and team play action. You could even enter the ring as yourself and prove to the world that there's only one true WWF champion. You.
You think I'm letting this slide. John, what is a Warrior Wallop and what is a Hulkster Splash?
I'm gonna assume...
I demand answers.
I'm gonna assume the Warrior Wallop was that axe handle he did? I don't know what the Hulkster Splash is, though.
Maybe that's like what that drop kick was.
Maybe
it wasn't. It's like a body attack. What did they just...
A backwards body attack?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Johnny.
Yeah?
Did you know... Did you know this is not the first instance we saw a character named You on the Game Marks podcast? WWF King of the Ring from 1993, also by LJN, features a generic character named You.
Did you know the first Fire Pro Wrestling game was released in 1989 where we first saw the 3/4 turned ring? This is the first and only WWF game to use this style to portray the ring. We saw it again in 1994 on the Super Nintendo with WCW Super Brawl Wrestling.
Did you know this game starts at 99 cents on eBay for the cartridge and a complete set version going for only $40?
Damn, alright, so this game doesn't have that much value. I guess it was pretty high production in 1990, which I could see. This was probably the dawn of like a new era in wrestling games. You know, after pro wrestling, you wanted a WWF license game. It was improved from the first one. I get it. But here's another little add-on to the Did You Know discussion. Did you know this game was released as a handheld in 1989 by Acclaim?
Uh-oh, is this getting added to the Johnny Clash handheld collection?
It's not, because it's about $50 on eBay, and I'm not paying that. But same WrestleMania Challenge logo. It's got Macho King and Hulk Hogan on it. It actually looks very Not the handheld itself. It's got a cool kind of shape to it, but the actual screen and like gameplay looks like the one I unboxed, the Stone Cold one that's available on our YouTube channel. But
I was going to say, those are the graphics that you expect from these like one-off handhelds.
yeah, now I can't see exactly what's on the back, but it looks like Knight Rider 1943, and I can't tell what the other one is, are also available. But this is kind of cool. It's not worth doing a deep dive on, but if you want to look it up, it is the WrestleMania Challenge handheld. We will post pictures as well. But George, you've done a lot. You read the roster. You know, we played a grueling Clash at the Feast before this. You're looking a little tense.
So I'm just going to kick my feet up, take a sip of my coffee, because I think it's time for a little R&R. Some ratings and reviews.
All right, as usual with the old games, we don't have full reviews here, but we have the GameSpot user rating, which is a 7.1, and that is out of 105 different reviews. The Game FAQ user rating gives it a 3 out of 5 stars, and the difficulty is also a 3 out of 5 with the average of 6 hours of gameplay. I don't know about you. I could not sit there and play this game for 6 hours. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't see 6 hours going
with a roster of 8. I don't think so. But there is one more rating that we didn't talk about yet. It's the most important rating because it's our rating. Because right now it's time to rate the games.
The game!
All right, George Feis. The sequel to WWF WrestleMania, WWF WrestleMania Challenge. Will you play it forever?
Woo!
Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Wow, that was pretty good. That's pretty good, John.
We'll see if it translates to audio.
I think you got a future in Fink impersonations. Okay. Man, I'm actually struggling really bad with this one because I like the game. The roster's good. There's aspects of it that are fun. But I just can't see past that. The controls, man. That angle of the controls is just killing me. It's so hard to hit grapples because of it. Oh, man. Yeah, I think I'm gonna future endeavor this one.
You're fired!
Ooh, okay. All
right, now Johnny Clash, WWF WrestleMania Challenge. Are you going to play it forever or future endeavor?
So when we first fired this game up, it's been a very, very long time since I've seen it. I was not too happy with the controllers, just kind of the directional, kind of trying to figure out how to kick out of a pin was a trip. I wish we actually recorded that because it was kind of funny. I was getting pretty heated. But then we actually played once we got a little bit of a handle on it. I like the roster. I actually like the way it plays, and I think I'm going to play it forever.
Woo! Okay. Well, it's unexpected. But,
I don't give the old WWF games as much credit as they deserve. I think I've future endeavored a little way too much of them. So now I'm kind of... Right. My eyes are a little more open when I play them, and I see them for what they're worth, and I appreciate this game.
Okay. I see where you're going. But Johnny, wanna hop on over and talk about our weekly tournament?
Let's do it.
All right, it's time for Clash at the Feast.
All right, check out this week's Clash at the Feast on YouTube at youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast. But last week we played Tag Team Match Muscle. Now, George took the first game of February with WWF Royal Rumble for the Dreamcast. Last week, Tag Team Match Muscle So it was a best of 3 within a best of 3. I chose Brocken Jr. and Kaneko Man, and George chose Ramen Man and Ashura Man. So the first match was a regular match. Then we moved on over to the second arena. We had a little bit of a slippery canvas because it was ice. The third one, now George did the nicest thing he's ever done on this podcast. We didn't know the ropes were electrified, and my guy got stuck on the ropes, and I lost because of that. My health drained. The second match of that one, he did the same to make it even. It all came down to the final match. For your winner of week 2 of February, Johnny Clash, play my music.
Not everything's made to last. This is my life.
Oh, that's what your music sounds like? I forgot.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll have to remind you a few more times. But that was a fun one. One of the more fun Clash at the Feasts.
Yeah, who knew? Who knew that
Who'd have
hashtag Heel George was gonna come back and do something nice to even the odds? So maybe,
Who would have
maybe this is a change of heart. Maybe I'm not so bad.
All right, but
That's at least what I tell myself.
all right, but that was Clash at the Feast. We rated the games. We went through the ratings and reviews. We did the deep dive. George, why don't you tell us what we're doing next week?
Oh, I am so excited for next week because we've played WrestleFest. We've played Matt Mania. We sat down with Mike Herman from Retrosoft Studios. There's only one more thing that we got to play in anticipation for Retromania Wrestling, and that will be our first official mobile title next week when we play WWE WrestleFest. But that's not all, John, because we are sitting down with Ian Riccaboni, the voice of Ring of Honor Wrestling and the voice of Retromania Wrestling.
Oh, baby, you are not going to want to miss this one. We sat down with him. He told us all about how he came into the game, his video game past. We even talked action figures, Ring of Honor, All In. We talked about it all. So you're not going to want to miss this interview.
Cannot wait. It was a blast to do it, and I cannot wait to relive that experience hanging out with Ian. Honestly, one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
We probably could have went 2 hours if I didn't have the free version of Zoom that only limited 40 minutes. But Georgie, take us home.
Is that it? All right. Well, that is going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store at ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. It is the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and you get a phone call from me and Johnny. And be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Please leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe wherever great podcasts can be found. And do not forget, we are only a few followers away on Twitch. Twitch.tv/GameMarksPod. When we hit 200 followers, you will get that video game retrospective of Bret the Hitman Hart. Ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. Wash your hands, wear your face masks, social distance. Thanks for hanging out with us this week, Johnny boy. Say goodbye.
Game over, Marks.
See, that one wasn't as good.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the Clash at the Feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.